In this lesson, we're going to look at making formulae. This is the first example of two examples. In this first example, we have a sequence of numbers 7, 11, 15, 19, 23, and so on. This is the first term, the second term, the third term, the fourth term, the fifth term, and so on. What we want to know is there a simple way of figuring out what, for example, the 47th term would be in this list, or the 80th term in the list, or the 256th term in this list? Is there a simple way of finding this out without having to list all the numbers? If we can make a formula for finding any given term in the list, then we could use that formula to work out, for example, the 47th term or any term that we choose. But how do we go about making this formula? Well, first of all, what we'll do is put down our term numbers. This is the first term, 11 is the second term, 15 is the third term, and so on. We'll imagine that we want to find the 47th term. So our first step to making our formula is to look for a pattern. In order to keep things clear in our head, we'll call the term numbers list A, and we'll call the terms themselves list B. So what we need to look for is a pattern. Well, looking at our numbers 7, 11, 15, 19, 23. The first thing that you should notice is that these numbers are going up in fours. So if the numbers are going up in fours, then that means we know it has something to do with the 4 times table. Is it as simple as that? Have we got the 4 times table? Well, let's check. 4 times 1 gives us 4, but we have 7. 4 times 2 gives us 8, but we have 11. 4 times 3 gives us 12, but we have 15. So what is it that's going on here? Well, thinking again, 4 times 1 is 4. How do we get to 7? 4 add 3 gives us 7. Does that work for the other ones? 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 gives us 11. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 gives us 15. 4 times 4 is 16. Again, plus 3 is 19. So we multiply by 4 and then we add 3. But what is it that we are multiplying by 4? Well, it's the term numbers that we are multiplying by 4. We know that this list is called A, so it's A times 4. A times by 4 and then add on 3 gives us our number on the bottom, our terms, and that list is called B. So to find out the terms B equals A times 4 plus 3. Or in other words, B equals 4A plus 3. Now we have a formula. B equals 4A plus 3. Thinking back to our question, it was, is there a simple way of finding out, for example, the 47th term? Well, now we have a formula. It is straightforward. Now, B is the list of terms. We want to find out what the 47th term is, so we want to know what B is equal to. A is our term numbers. We know it's the 47th term we want to figure out, so that 4A is 4 times by A, and we know it's the 47th term, so it's 4 times 47, and we know we must add 3. So B equals 4 times 47 plus 3, so 4 times 47 is 188. We still to add 3. 188 add 3 is 191. So B, our 47th term, is 191. And that's our final answer. This is example number 2, our last example. This time we have another list of terms: 17, 40, 63, 86 and 109. This time we want to know, for example, could we find easily the 100th term in this list? So in this example, again, we are going to make a formula. And first of all, what we are going to do is put down our term numbers. So 17 is the first term, 40 is the second term, and so on. This time we're not going to use A and B. We're going to use some notation that they often use in exams. So the term numbers are going to be represented by N, and the terms themselves are going to be represented by Tn. So again, the first thing we do is look for a pattern. 17, 40, 63, 86, 109. This time we notice that the numbers are going up in 23. So that means we are using the 23 times table. Is it as simple as the 23 times table? Well, let's have a look. 23 times 1 is 23, but we have 17. 23, how do we get to 17? Well, we could subtract 6. Let's see if that works. 23 times 2 gives 46. Again, if we subtract 6, we get 40. 23 times 3 is 69. If we subtract 6, then again we get our term 63. So it's times by 23, subtract 6. What is it we're multiplying by 23? Well, it's the term numbers represented by N. And what is it we're trying to figure out? Well, it's the terms themselves, Tn. So Tn equals N times 23 minus 6. So in other words, Tn equals 23n minus 6. We now have our formula, and in this case we want to work out the 100th term. So T 100, the 100th term, is equal to 23 multiplied by n, the 100th term, take away 6. So T100 equals 23 times 100, which is 2,300. We know we still need to subtract 6. So our 100th term is 2294.